actually feel better now about West Ham's transfer window than I did on Tuesday, despite us not making any signings. Because whilst I ignored individual transfer news, such as Kudus to Spurs, our pursuit of Diouf from Slavia Prague, as well as some of my bigger desires for the window, that midfield rebuild that I'm really wanting to see. But if I was to focus on the general news and noise around West Ham's summer transfer window, there's one thing that's been making me happy that I'm quite excited for. And there's two things that have been giving me quite a lot of concern. And those two things have massively been overriding the one. Let me make that clear. However, one of the barriers that I think was in the way of preventing West Ham having a successful transfer window has now been removed. And as a result, I'm actually feeling a little bit calmer now compared to a few days ago. I'm looking forward to discussing it with you. Hopefully you stick around. But before we get into it, just want to point in the direction of our Patreon. Two reasons for this. Reason number one is because without Patreon, we wouldn't exist on YouTube. The most common reason for people leaving Patreon eventually is, well, you do enough free stuff on YouTube, so I'll just watch that. But if we took Patreon away, the free stuff on YouTube would not exist. So even if you don't want additional content, but if you wouldn't mind supporting the channel, then please do consider joining up. The lowest tier, which is the supporter tier, costs you £3.60 a month. That's the final price you pay. There's no hidden charges. There's no extra charges. Once a month, £3.60 comes out of your bank account, goes into our Patreon account, and you get the month's worth of content and all the other perks that comes with being a patron. And you support this channel, which allows us to keep putting content up on YouTube for free. It's quite simple. We took away Patreon, we would not produce content on YouTube. Now, for some, that's an incentive to not join, but for those of you who do enjoy us on YouTube, please do consider it. You can go to patreon.com/HammersChat, links in the description below, or just Google HammersChat Patreon. But reason number two is our giveaway this month. Every single month we do a giveaway for all patrons. You don't have to enter, you're automatically entered. All you have to do is pay your fee or have your annual subscription overrunning that month. So for anyone that is a patron in July or joins in July, so if you were to join today, you will be entered into the giveaway. And remember, £3.60. There's two other tiers as well, £7.20 and £12 if you want to get more perks and benefits. But £3.60 is the lowest you pay. You will be included in the giveaway. We've got three big prizes. There's 6 prizes in total, but we've got 3 big ones. The draw is at the start of August. Prize number 1. Match-worn Mark Noble boots. They are personalised. It's got Nobes written on it just there. You can just see it there. It says Nobes. These are going to a patron at the start of the month. Someone that's a patron in July will be getting that. Prize number 2. Signed Mark Noble shirt. Farewell Boleyn shirt signed by Mr. Mark Noble. And prize number 3. Mark Noble's captain's armband. And I know you might be thinking, hang on a minute, you gave that away in the previous raffle. It's a different one. Some of you were paying £5 per ticket for the raffle that we did a couple of weeks ago. It's less than that to enter this one. Think of it as a raffle if you like. If you only ever enter to access the giveaways, it's worth doing. Our next raffle will be out at the end of this month. And if you were thinking, nah, that's the same captain's armband, it's not. The winner's already got their one. There it is. And if you still don't believe me, here's another captain's armband signed by Mark Noble. Here's another captain's armband signed by Mark Noble. We've got more than one. Also, spoiler, for patrons in August, someone will win this one. Captain's armband signed by Jared Bowen. Anyway, patreon.com/HammersChat. In the last 12 months, we've given away over £8,000 worth of prizes with our giveaways and prediction competitions just on Patreon. Get signed up and hopefully you enjoy it. Right, back to this. Well, we'll start with the positive or the negative. I guess we'll start with the negative that's been removed. Then we'll do the positive, then the negative that still remains. So the negative that has been removed is sell before we buy. We've been told for quite some time now, months, we must sell before we buy this window. I didn't believe it originally when it came out. I thought, rubbish. PSR were fine. Cash flow might be an issue. Your fault, your problem, you sort it. I should have known they wouldn't. I didn't expect them to, but I thought we'd still be able to buy before we sold. It's been proven that we had to sell before we buy because, maybe not, maybe it hasn't been proven. Maybe it's what's been proven as sell before we're unable to buy, or sell before we buy because we're unable to buy. That would be accurate. But the sell before we buy, it's happened now. Kudus has left for 55 million. We don't need to discuss that anymore. But what's happened now is the club have got money. Now, I actually still think the club have negotiated okay terms with how the payments are made. I'm not talking about the fee. I'm talking about usually these are paid up over a number of years. It's common. That's how we buy players. That's how we sell players. To get it paid up over 36 months, I think is actually all right and gives us a decent chunk of money now to get it going with. So that's happened. One of the biggest barriers this summer was trying to get someone out before we could get someone in. That's gone now. And I'm not saying I accept or I agree with that self-inflicted rule. I don't. However, it's happened. We can no longer... That's been the excuse all summer as to why we haven't bought anyone. That excuse, it's gone. The club cannot leak. We must sell before we buy. You've done it now. You've sold. Now get on with things, right? Now we have to move in to the buying phase of the window. Yes, I'm aware we still need to sell more players. Ideally, Aguerd is off, Emerson's off. I think the board are itching to sell Lucas Paqueta as well. But we can now start making signings, right? I think we can agree on that. Barrier one, out of here. On to the positive thing. I like the players we're being linked to. Now, it doesn't always mean it's true. You have to take a lot of rumours with a pinch of salt. But Potter publicly has said we want to bring in younger players at West Ham. He's spoken about the amount of money not on the pitch at West Ham as well. Whether he means wages, transfer fees. It would suggest that maybe he would like to go after the lesser known players that are younger with a high potential. Potter has spoken about the importance of turning a player into profit and the market value of it. And I appreciate us as fans might not want to hear a player being discussed as a financial asset, but actually having a head coach switched on like that is not a bad thing. Usually they go hand in hand, right? The players that are going to come in and increase in value are the players you're going to bring in and they're going to turn into better players at West Ham. Players that we look at and think, ooh, they'll do in the Premier League, only 22 years of age, let's bring him in. One good season in the Premier League to double in price. Charlie Creswell is a perfect example of this. Price tag 12-14 million. Fabrizio Romano yesterday said Toulouse are willing to sell him. Say we bought him for 12 million. One good season in the Premier League. He's worth double that. Where's the proof in that? Well, Quans had just gone to Bayer Leverkusen for over 30 million. They were partners for the under-21s during the summer, so they're on similar par at the minute, not in terms of ability, but with England, but they're 20 million apart. If Creswell came to West Ham, smashed it this season, his value doubles overnight minimum. He's worth 30 million next summer. We're linked to a lot of young players with lots of potential right now. I don't know all of them, right? I didn't know who Habib Diarra was before we were linked to him and he ended up at Sunderland. I didn't know who El Hadji Malik Diouf was. Suzuki, heard of, hadn't really watched. Richard Rios, heard of, hadn't really watched. Lucas Stassin, never heard of him. But these are young players held in high regard around football. Those that know football know these players and think a lot of them. You can see their stats. You can go watch their highlights and stuff like that. From an outside perspective, it feels like the direction I want West Ham to be going in. And actually, this summer is the first summer. When we got linked to Calvert-Lewin, I didn't believe it. I thought, nah, that's not going to happen. Historically, I would have believed that. Just straight away, I'd have gone, yeah, that's a signing West Ham will make. I feel different. Maybe it's misplaced. Maybe I'm being naive. But when I seen us linked to Calvert-Lewin, and at the minute, I think people are making up a little bit, but we keep getting linked to Callum Wilson, who's a free agent. I don't believe it. I don't believe that. Gio, 12 months, 24, 36 months ago, we have believed, well, yeah, that's the type of striker we're going to bring in, because it was. But my hope for the transfer window in regards of which types of player we're going to bring in, the profile of them, I'm actually quite excited. I actually like the players we're being linked to. Like I said, it doesn't mean they're true, because we're linked to Calvert-Lewin as much as we're linked to Lucas Stassin, right? I can't just pick and choose. Well, I can. I can believe what I believe and disbelieve what I don't. But because of the direction I feel that Potter and McAuley want us to go in, I find it easier to believe about Stassin than I do Calvert-Lewin. I might end up being disappointed, right? There's still a long way to go till the window shuts. It's not long till the season starts. There's a long way to go until the window shuts. We will bring in, I don't know, 4 or 5 players maybe in total. I might end up looking stupid and Calvert-Lewin's one of them. But I'll tell you what, if he was, I wouldn't be happy about it. I'm just saying that right now. I'd be very disappointed and I would be very unhappy if he was him. But actually, if this sale allows us to bring in 2 or 3 of those players that we've been linked to, that Potter really wants, whether it is Diouf, Stassin, Onyedika, Stroikens, Creswell, Suzuki, whoever it is, I'll start to get a bit excited. Especially if it's midfielders, especially if it's a midfield rebuild I'm witnessing, I'll get even more excited. I've discussed it in the comments before with a few subscribers like Brad and Josh. I like it. I like who we're being linked to. Now that leads me on to the other negative. So you only went the positive, now's the time to go. However, back down to earth with a bump. The other negative, which outweighs the positive. So let me make that clear. It's the person in charge of bringing them to the club, isn't it? It's hard to get away from that, right? I'd be fake and I'd be lying if I said, oh yeah, I'm confident we're now going to bring in those players. So it's all very well being linked to these players, right? And this is why my excitement perhaps only goes so far. Because I don't have the belief that we'll get the deal done. That does not exist within me at the moment. Now, it didn't exist prior because of the sell before you buy policy, but that's, like I said, that's gone now, right? So we want to get a deal done for Diouf. It feels simple. It feels straightforward. The price doesn't feel offensive. You've got a chairman at the other side of things that stinks of desperation, right? Let's be fair here, okay? When we were pimping out Mohammed Kudus, it stunk of desperation. The Slavia Prague chairman is doing the same thing. He is doing the same thing with Diouf. As much as he does, well, if no one pays, we're going to keep him. He might mean it, and he might end up keeping him. But he's doing the exact same thing, which is basically pleading for someone to go get him for 70 million quid, right? He honestly, the guy can't shut up. Monday we were discussing quotes from him. Sunday was the head coach. Monday was the chairman. And then again today, Gonzo's done a video about it. He's opened his trap again. He is reeking of wanting to sell Diouf. So as a result, you would imagine if we were serious about him, it would be simple to do. And that's where I'm disappointed. I thought we'd follow up this sale of Kudus very quickly with some good news. We've sold him. Ow, bang, Diouf. Right, okay, hello, things are going. Quick win. And I think that's my disappointment because sell before we buy, don't agree with it, but fine. But whilst all that's happening, there's nothing stopping you getting 2 or 3 signings lined up. So as soon as Kudus is out the door, bang, 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 you've got 2 or 3 signings right there, one after the other coming in the door. Because you know, especially come Tuesday, Wednesday, when you've accepted that bid for Kudus, you know what money you've got coming in, what you've got to go play with. That deal for Diouf and possibly someone else should have been done immediately. And this is why when fans get frustrated and others will say, it's early, calm down. I can understand both points up until now. Because this is where the it's early, hang on, disappears a bit for me. Because, well, what's the prevention? Because unless we start bringing in players immediately in the next few days, it would suggest that up until now, we haven't really used this window correctly, which is to get those deals agreed. We just needed the money. We needed the sale to then go ahead with it. Maybe that's happening behind the scenes. I'm not confident because my biggest barrier is that it's David Sullivan and Karren Brady doing these negotiations. So I have confidence and hope in Macaulay identifying players, giving the list, saying, here you are, Mr. Sullivan. There's nothing on there. Here you are, Mr. Sullivan. Here's the list. Sullivan's ideal list, really, isn't it? Blank. Here's the list of players. That's the guy we'd like for midfield. That's our ideal striker. That's the keeper we'd really like. Here you are. Away you go. I have confidence in that part happening. The problem I have is when Sullivan gets his computer out and starts typing up an email. Oi, you, sell us this player or we will go to a other club and sign this player. Much love, David Sullivan. We've all seen the email to Sporting. That's how we negotiate, right? I don't believe we've got any better at it. We did for a period when he wasn't doing negotiations, but now he's back in charge. And that's my biggest worry. My biggest worry is the ability to get these deals done and get the players identified by Macaulay over the line. The Diouf deal will tell us plenty. If this is done in the next couple of days, fair. If come Tuesday, nothing's happened. I think that's where it's basically selling Kudus has bought me calm, because I'm like, right, that's the barrier gone. If Diouf come Tuesday, he's not here, I think that goodwill, if you like, will disappear by then, and I will start to get a little more worried. Because barrier 1 is no longer applicable. They cannot say, I've seen today, oh, we need to sell midfielders. I agree, we do, right? I 100% agree we need to sell James Ward-Prowse. I know he's talking quantity, I'm talking about specific here, right? If I even see something that says we can't buy anyone until we sell someone else, I will flip. My head will go. It will spin. I do not want to read that. What I want to read now is that West Ham are really going for it to try and bring players in because they finally sold Mohammed Kudus. In life, you can turn most negatives into a positive. Not all of them, but most of them you can. Kudus leaving, everything that went on with Mohammed Kudus, the sale of it, the process, etc., the PR around it, it was not good for West Ham. It felt bad. But if it allows us to go get Diouf and insert a player you really want that we've been linked to, whether it's James McAtee, whether it's Charlie, whoever it is, if we had them done by this time next week, you'd be feeling a bit better. You'd think, actually, it's working out all right here. It's time to get signing some players.